If he were broke, I wouldn't choose him. And not because I'm shallow, but because it's my standard. Let's be honest, if I didn't match his taste, his lifestyle, I wouldn't even be considered. So why should I ignore what matters to me? I've built a beautiful life. I've created financial abundance on my own. So yes, a man's financial stability matters to me, not because I need his money, but because I need his mindset, I need his drive, his ability to build, lead, and match what I've created for myself. And yes, I believe in love, but I also believe in alignment, and choosing wisely is part of loving wisely.
Do you think that at some point in time that being visual creatures is the reason why we had an unfit or a misfit spouse?
If you're visual only, then yeah. But I'm not. Are you visual only? Because I'm not visual only.
I'm not even visual anymore at this point. I'm trying to.
What does that mean?
Push that to the side. Make it second or third.
So you wouldn't care what she looked like?
Not that I won't care, but I'm more at this big old age, right? I'm more.
What's the big old age?
32. Right? So,
you're younger than me.
At this big old age, I'm more. I actually have to like you to fuck with you, right? And
I've always been that way though.
Oh no, see, when I was visual, I didn't care if I liked you or not.
So at one point you were visual only.
Yeah, well, visual priority, because I would fuck with you, but I would have sex with you, but I wouldn't date you. Right? Now for me to even have for you to even qualify for me to have sex with you, well, I'm in a relationship right now, but I actually have to like you, which for me to like you, it's primarily intellect. You know, where's your mentality at? What's your train of thought like? Right. Those type of things, plus you have to be visually appealing.
Yeah, I was always that way because I always would get turned off if you were stupid.
Yeah,
like, a woman could look like Beyonce, Rihanna. During our dialogue, I realized you stupid. I can't even. It's literally like the biggest turnoff for someone like me. Like literally, I wouldn't even try it because I know the sex would be horrible.
Not all the time. There's a lot of stupid.
For me, it would.
Okay.
For me, it would. For me, it would. Like, it's like having something in your mind during the whole process. It'd be in my mind like, she said that dumb shit. I probably wouldn't even get up.
Yeah, but
I'd be like, she said that dumb shit.
But you know, sex is a skill.
I always say I couldn't do a beautiful fool.
Well, I would never marry one, but I'd play. I used to. I would play around with them. You know what I mean? Most beauty.
Even after you realized they were stupid?
Yeah.
See, I couldn't do that. Maybe at first you could catch me off guard and I don't really realize it. But as soon as I realize the level of stupidity or you vibrate low, I can't have you around me.
I do agree. All right, so I don't know if you know, but we've been actually filming this whole time. All right, so let's go ahead.
Have y'all?
Yes, we have. Everything is filmed. But we're going to get into the intro right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're just going to swing it right back. Like, you know, the build is just like organic and you don't know what's going to happen. So why not, record it? Yeah. So once you sit, whenever you do come back, assuming that you will come back at some point in time, once you sit in any chair that's in front of a camera, just know the cameras are on. Right? That's an 8 at the table warning. Mm-hmm. But I want to say welcome. Do I introduce you as doctor, or exactly how would you like me to do it before we actually get into it?
I mean, that's my title. Dr. William James is my doctorate is in educational leadership. So yeah, I have the title, but I'm not. I mean, it's more inspirational to the youth than it is important to me.
I want to get into that too. All right. So welcome everybody to 8 at the Table. It's your man Rico Hundo, and I got a great guest with us, Mr. William James, aka Dr. William James, whichever you prefer, whichever he prefers, correct?
Yeah, it's not a big deal to me, yeah.
Okay. Why is it not a big deal to you? Because it is a great title to have, an achievement to actually be able to put on your name.
Well, it's just because I've met so many people with the title who are stupid, so I don't put too much on it. It's more of inspirational to the people I mentor, the students I mentor, that, I'm a black man that earned a terminal degree. Hard work in that aspect, because it is different for a black man earning a doctorate than someone else of a different race. We do have to go through different trials and tribulations in that aspect. But yeah, that's really just what it's about, being inspirational title.
Well, congratulations, because like you did say or mentioned before, it is a tougher, it's a tough journey no matter what race you are, but it's even, more tough when you are a person of color, especially in America, right?
Right.
So congrats to that.
Thank you.
No problem. And so before we jump into it, we typically do these icebreakers, and I know we're going to have you on another segment, but, I wanted to kind of beat the rest of the team to the punch. So I'm going to do the 3 icebreakers with you. All right. So the first one is, I'm assuming that you do drink.
I don't drink.
Okay. Did you ever drink at one point in time?
No.
Got it. All right. So you do drink non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, water, stuff like that, yeah.
What would be your go-to drink?
Water.
Water? Is it a specific type of water or?
I mean, I ain't get no endorsement deal or anything like that, but I guess Poland Spring.
Really?
Yeah.
Poland Spring, doctor?
Yeah.
That's like one of the worst waters you could drink.
That's the ones I drink the most. I drink that in Deer Park.
All right, I got you. I got a great water bottle in my car, and we're not getting an endorsement either. So, I'll hold off on that. The second icebreaker is, if you were able to have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be?
Christ.
That's dope. What would you ask him?
Everything. He knows everything. I would ask him, do I have a seat at the kingdom?
All right, that's great. What if he said no? Like, yeah.
And I accept the answer. That's all I can do.
Damn.
It's Christ. We can only make it through him.
All right, and the last one is, are you married? I just want to ask a preliminary question.
No.
All right, so if you had the opportunity to have an intimate moment with anyone in this world, you only have 24 hours to live, God forbid, who would it be?
My current lady.
How long have you been together?
It's new. Like, I want to put it out there, but it's new.
Is 3 months new, 6 months new, 8 months
Like
new?
3 months, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Because I just did a recent interview that people could see. And the recent interview, I was like, I'm single.
Okay.
But since then, yeah.
So what made her earn a spot, if you don't mind me asking?
She's feminine, she's fit, she's friendly, she's cooperative, she's easy to deal with. She's 10 years younger than me.
10 years younger than you?
Yeah, I'm 35, she's 25. Yeah, so she got youth on her side, but she's not difficult. It's real easy. Everything about us, talking, vibing, us going out, it's never like anything difficult. She didn't ask for much. She's not asking me to take her to, $1,000 restaurants and all of that stuff that, people look for. She's not materialistic. So, those are the key things that I like about her.
Now, some of those things, can potentially change, especially when you're saying she has youth on her side, right? She's 25. She may have been able to, but there's only so much that you typically experience by that age, right? So assuming, her mind or her palate broadens and she has these new desires that could be deemed as materialistic or luxury, whatever we want to call it, is that something that you're willing to adapt? Because also you're in a relationship right now, or you're in a new relationship right now for a relatively short amount of time. Everybody, typically has their best foot forward at that point in time. It's when the comfort sets in, is when the mask starts getting pulled back a little bit. So would you be willing to make any adjustments in terms of, like, she's not asking for much now, but maybe when she feels like she earned her spot or her spot is more solidified, and now she decides to ask for more later, is that an adjustment?
With me, the person doesn't have to ask. I think a lot of times women get caught up in wanting things that are earned right out of the gate. If the person puts in the work and they earn it, then I have no problem giving it. I believe in the saying, the woman who asks for nothing deserves everything. So if she's just being patient, she's showing that she's, deserving of these things, then why not give her the world type of thing? But it has to be within reason. If a person became someone that I felt was just solely materialistic and like they wanted, a certain type of bag and they wanted it every month, then no, I wouldn't adapt to that. It would have to be within reason.
So, like, I agree. Listen, I say this all the time, man. You got to earn everything. You know what I'm saying? Woman, man, whoever you are, whatever you are. So what does earning it look like for you? Just asking for nothing and just...
It's just me consistently seeing them display, the traits, the qualities that I look for in a woman, them being, like I said, being easygoing, being cooperative, being understanding, easy to talk to, being my peace. Things like that is where, if I see that consistently, I'm like, you earned it. Like, you won't even have to tell me, like, oh, I want to go here, I want to do that. I'm just like, yeah, we going here. Because you earned it. It's like you want to do something. As men, we want to please our woman, and we want to do the most for them. It's like, I don't think any dude, any man is out there just purposely not doing for his woman. Like, if we have all of the finances and everything is in order to do it, and we're happy, we're just naturally going to do it. It's when you feel like the person is always complaining and they're nagging you and they're always asking for it. It's just like, hold up, are you here for me or are you here for that?
Nah, I agree. And then, because you're going to have the women in the comments. I mean, if Erin were here, I'm assuming she would say something similar to closed mouths don't get fed either, right? So it's like a fine line between asking and kind of setting boundaries of what you expect versus, earn.
Disagree.
Listen, I disagree with you. Everybody has to earn everything in my eyes. My girl, she earned the fact that I even have a family with her. You know what I'm saying? It was not a easy process. I don't believe in anything easy is worth having, right? So, and that includes me. I'm even difficult. I think that's fair.
You're difficult?
I'm difficult, yeah.
You're saying that about yourself.
I am difficult.
What makes you difficult?
That particular, specific, and an acquired taste. So it could be difficult in terms of the adjustments, or difficult in terms of, basically adjusting, because some people that might have, their mind fixated on having things a certain type of way, it may not work for me. So then it becomes difficult because they're either going to have to let it be or adjust.
You're saying your standards make you difficult?
Essentially, yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
I want to know the standards that's so difficult.
I mean, I just like things a certain way, right? So I feel like everything with me is very specific. I believe in specifying. And so it's kind of hard for me to generalize. But like, let's say and this is just me hypothetically speaking, if I want every doorknob on my house to be on the left side for the left hand, every door in the house needs to be on the left side for the left hand. Right? I'll have the reasoning for it as well, whatever that may be. But that's the type of specific that I am, which can become like a nuance for some other people who may not like it. Because it doesn't make sense, but it also doesn't affect you at the same time.
It depends on how you respond to it.
Okay.
You just said something that's like obsessive compulsive disorder type of thing. Every doorknob got to be on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Depends on how you react to it. If you like, oh, babe, this doorknob is on the left-hand side. I gotta fix it. I could see that being just an issue.
It's like difficulty.
Your lady just be like, what? But because I spoke about this before, like standards, I think if you have standards that are going to benefit you, your lady, and the overall family, then like objectively, if it's something like, why is it difficult? I mean, like, because I went over this and I'm like, I guess I vibrate high. So it might be difficult. Not everyone is vibrating high, but it's also necessary. So like if you smoke and I say stop smoking, that's something that's objectively going to benefit you. What's the issue? Like that's my whole...
What's the resistance?
Yeah. Like why would a lady push back on that?
So, I mean, and I firmly believe, and we kind of were touching on this before we were filming right now. I'm going to just circle back to it. But I firmly believe that finding somebody that you can build with is difficult, right? Whether it be a spouse or whatever the terms are. And a lot of times people can't build, especially your spouse, is simply because, or you can't build with them simply because they don't understand the bigger picture. They don't understand what the what is beneficial in the long run, right? And that can be difficult because for you, you're saying, listen, stop smoking. It's you know that it's beneficial to them. They should know, hopefully they do, right? It's pretty obvious. But for some reason, the short-term satisfaction or the short-term gratification that they're getting from it allows them to miss the bigger mark. So what I want to ask is, swinging back around, Black women typically are judged more for wanting financial security in a man.
If he were broke, I wouldn't choose him. And not because I'm shallow, but because it's my standard. Let's be honest, if I didn't match his taste, his lifestyle, I wouldn't even be considered. So why should I ignore what matters to me? I've built a beautiful life. I've created financial abundance on my own. So yes, a man's financial stability matters to me, not because I need his money, but because I need his mindset, I need his drive, his ability to build, lead, and match what I've created for myself. And yes, I believe in love, but I also believe in alignment, and choosing wisely is part of loving wisely.
I don't know about that. A Black woman that looks like how she looks, like the equal look saying that, she just said that she has income and beauty, so she wouldn't date a broke man.
Which is fair.
Both. When women who don't have the beauty saying they won't date a broke man, why is a man who has income dating you? That's just not realistic. You think you're going, if you look at all of the celebrities, if we look at just life in general, you don't see multimillionaires walking around with a woman that's 300 pounds. That's just not the standard. But I would say we can't do what other races can do because we're trying to overcome oppression. So if a woman is just saying like, a Black woman saying I wouldn't date a broke guy, what number is broke? 50,000 is his net worth. If you make
net worth or income?
Yeah, net income. If he brings home $50,000 annually and you bring home $50,000 annually, that's $8,300 a month. You two working together, especially if you have good credit already, you two working together can establish something and you can live fairly comfortable. So why wouldn't that happen if he has morals, principles, and provision is more than just income. You provide security, you provide leadership, you provide guidance in religious aspects and different things. It's provision. Are you safe with that man? Can that man lead your children and guide you guys somewhere? Well, what do you guys align with outside of, finances? Black people, we need to get together on that and then think of how you can work together with someone who makes $70,000. I saw a clip. It was a dude who said he was a special education teacher, and he said he made $75,000 annually. And the woman said, like, yo, I couldn't be with you. Now, this is a dude who chose a path that is servicing the youth. He's working with special needs kids, and he makes $75,000. Now, let's say his morals and principles is all together. Why wouldn't you choose him if he is going to serve you? He's not going to cheat. He's not, by serve you, I mean serve you as the masculine energy that you need in your life. He's not going to cheat on you, not going to put his hands on you. He's going to be, the husband that you need. He's going to raise your kids properly. He's always going to protect and do the things that the man is supposed to do in the household. What's wrong with the $75,000?
That's a good question, and I want to ask you that. What are they missing? Whatever woman that is in agreement with that ideology, what are they missing in terms of finding the value in a man who is doing all of those things or is, of all of those things and making $75,000 a year?
I think they get caught up too much in the materialism of things and keeping up with the Joneses. They know that man can't take them on the fancy trips. He's not buying them the fancy bags. They're not eating at the 5-star restaurants. They're not doing all of those things that, many of these women are valuing today. Instead of having a household and having a family and moving the needle. Like I said, you'll be surprised if two people make their net income is $60,000, $120,000, annually. Combined, y'all bring home $10,000 a month. Now, $60,000 separately isn't a lot, but if you combine it, $10,000 a month, you guys can live comfortably. I live in New York, and you can live comfortably with $10,000 in New York. How much are you spending a month? If your mortgage, let's say you have a house and your mortgage is $3,000, and you factor in, homeowners insurance, property tax, all that stuff. Let's just say you're spending $4,500 to $5,000 a month for that. You each got a car note, car insurance. You throw in another $1,000. That's around $6,000. How much are y'all spending together on food and care products and stuff? If you throw in another $2,000, that's $8,000. That leaves y'all with $2,000 a month that y'all save if you work together. Why can't that work?
Well, I think first I want to touch on this, right? The video that we just watched.
Right.
Here's my issue when it comes to our specific community, right? Kind of gearing back towards Black women being judged about wanting financial stability. I think there's a difference, and I think we need to understand what we are actually, where we're at in our lives, right? There's a lot of reflecting that needs to be happening right now in terms of, and I don't know this woman, know nothing about her. I don't know any, but I do know how she's carrying herself, right? Which if she is making X amount of dollars, which she claims, and if she wants somebody to be an equal or more, which she's also stated, at least she's carrying herself of some type of value. My issue with our community, especially the women in our community, is not just about the beauty. It's about how are you displaying yourself? And also how are you getting this money? Right, there are some of our women who are getting the money in a positive way. There's, maybe they're business owners, which you already know. We're running the entrepreneur. Our Black women are running the entrepreneurship world, but there are also a lot that are getting the money from just men, right? Like asking for men. It's whether it be on OnlyFans, whether it just be through the dating world. They're getting their money from just being panhandlers, in my opinion. And I don't like that. So like when I hear Black women are being judged for wanting financial stability, it's like, no, not all Black women are being judged, just a specific type, right? And I think that they are to be judged as well as all races with that specific type, right. Whatever it may be.
It depends on how they're earning their income and the type of man they're looking for with that income. So if you'll take a man who's making, $200,000, $300,000 annually, but he's making it selling drugs or scamming, then that's the issue. And then just like you said, if a woman is like, oh, I need a man who's making at least $150,000 a year because I make $150,000 a year, but she makes her $150,000 a year on OF, that makes no sense because he can't go on OF and make it that way. So I think that's the real problem. And I think many women know, because most women are hypergamous and they want a man who makes as much as them or more. They know that they won't respect a man who makes less. They don't, which is silly to me because he's still a man.
And so let's look back let's date back 15, 20 years ago. There were more women that were probably, stay-at-home moms, I would assume at that time. I don't know the numbers.
In the 50s.
Yeah.
In the 50s, and that's another thing that people don't understand. In the 50s, 65% of households had two people working.
In the 50s, 65% had two people working.
Yeah.
Majority.
Yeah.
Here.
In America. Men shouldn't be getting money all types of ways either. I don't support, that's what we talking about. I don't support the man who's getting money as a drug dealer. So just like I would judge a dude who wants to be with a woman who's making money on OF, I would judge him. I'd be like, you crazy? You want a woman who's on OF? I judge a female the same way who wants a drug dealer or a scammer. Like, we need morals. Morals and principles should be the foundation of the Black community. How we earn money, how we protect our family, how we encourage each other, how we support one another. All of that should be the foundation of our community, not how much money you got, because a lot of people are making money, but they're selling their soul to get it. And that's what we just see being, exposed every day. A lot of these female artists, they promote into the youth, oh, just twerk, just do this, just get a bag. And Then you got some of these drill rappers like, oh, you could shoot up your community, you could do this. But they're making a whole bunch of money, but I would never do that. If you could tell me right now, I'll give you 200 billion, just make one drill song saying shoot 'em up, bang, bang. I say keep your money.
That's the point that I've been pushing for the last, I think maybe the start of 2025, I've been heavily pushing that. Let's stop glorifying what's destroying us just because it's profitable, right? And I'm tired of it. And, you know, from the man's perspective and the woman's perspective, from both perspectives,
right?
You know, because there's a domino effect that happens, especially when you have glorifying, you're validating the behavior. You know, we're validating whether you make money on OnlyFans. It's like, oh, I don't care. At least she got money out of it. You know, same thing when it goes to the situations where a woman is dating a man and, you know, nothing came of it, but the fact that she was able to get money out of him is like, well, at least you got these trips, at least you got these bags, you know. Just let's stop validating just terrible behavior and leech behavior. Both of them I just cannot align with anymore. So when I hear accountability, Alan, it triggers me because I don't believe that most men subscribe to rap music, especially in our community. I would say a good portion.
Well, not the shoot 'em up, kill each other type of stuff. No.
Yeah.
They do now.
So like if I say, well, I don't know, hypothetically 30% of black men love rap music that are involved with that speak on, you know, crime, organized crime to some capacity. That's still 70% of black men who don't subscribe to it.
Right.
So there's no accountability to be had there for me, right? Was I one of the ones that did subscribe to it and maybe sometimes do? Yes, right? But where am I at right now? What I do on my daily basis is actually a reflection of who I am more so than what I listen to, although you should be careful with that too. But I think that that's very important when we talk about this is because we get to this point where all we want to do is find the blame, right? Or pick which one is the greater poison, not realizing that they're both poison. So now I want to transition to solutions. Where do you think the solution starts for our community, for black women and also black men?
Well, I always say this. A lot of these podcasts are popular with the dating scene. And a lot of people think that the dating is just dating. And I've seen people in the comments like, oh, I'm tired of these dating topics and stuff like that. But they don't realize that the dating is the setup for the black nuclear family. We can't get to the black nuclear family without dating. If you see black men and black women are at odds with the expectations and what dating should look like, what relationships should look like, what marriage should look like, then how do we get the black nuclear family back? That's what we need. That's what's going to allow us to be successful. We can get the black man, black woman, black child. That's the first solution, having our households back. In the 1950s, 1960s, in the middle of Jim Crow, we were more successful than we are now as a whole. The whole design was to split up the black family, which they did. You had people like Rockefeller supporting the modern feminist movement. And his whole idea, his whole plan was to get more women into the workforce so that you could tax the other half of the population and you could get kids in the schools earlier where you can indoctrinate them with your way of thinking. That was a plan. You also had black lesbians like Margaret Sloan, who was in charge of the National Black Feminist Organization, and she promoted stuff like that. It was all a part of a plan. We need the black nuclear family. We need to take hold in charge of our family and our communities. That's where the solution starts. The household and the community. I think everyone knows that that's where it starts. We have to educate kids in our community. We have to teach them financial literacy. We have to teach them different ways to earn income and show them that it's a possibility. A lot of kids just look at sports or rapping as a way out rather than saying, hey, I could be an electrician, I could be a plumber, I can be a real estate investor. That's what I do. That's what I teach my kids. Have several income. I tell them that I flip houses. I teach them how to do it. I'm teaching them financial literacy. Like when I'm not educating you, this is what I do. This is how I flip houses. This is how I make the connections. Have several forms of income. Utilize every one of your talents. I'm an author. You can be an author. It's about having role models in the community. They have to know financial literacy. They have to be educated, be able to articulate themselves well. A lot of them, the literacy rates are down. It's atrocious. So many of them, but it's coming from the households though. They don't have two parents in the household. I see it firsthand. I'm an educator. I see it firsthand. I see when there's parent-teachers conferences and one parent shows up or no parent shows up, and more often than not, it's no parent showing up. Kid failing all of their classes. They can barely read. They're in 10th grade. It's like, what is this kid's future going to look like? So we got to work on those first before anything else. I believe in strong body, strong mind, strong spirit, and that's what I represent. I'm drug-free. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I work out 4-5 times a week. I study. I'm autodidactic. I make sure I know my word and I'm rooted in the word. That's what we have to promote in our community instead of all of the nonsense. And we got to come together.
And I agree. And I think a lot of the times that we get caught into money and not understanding that the people who control how we get paid are going to control what they're going to pay for, right? The type of content, specifically speaking, whether it's the type of music and or what we have here going viral. Right? And for me, it gets me so upset because of where I stand. And I've been trying to push for this. So I'm glad that you are here and you're somebody who actually represents everything that is what I would say personally qualifies as a role model. I don't believe we have a lot of role models in our community that are fit. I think a lot of them, even though they might appear to be good, somewhere down the line they've compromised. And ultimately what ends up happening is once you get to that top, that compromise comes to the light for some reason.
At the end of my book, I have a chart and it's called solutions and it's called do's and don'ts. One of the don'ts is don't hang around on the corner doing nothing, like standing in front of stores and stuff. No loitering. That's never been beneficial to us. The type of energy that's going to come from that is going to be negative energy. Men in their purpose don't got time to stand around all day, stand in front of the store, stand on the corner. You don't see grown men doing that. You don't see grown men in their purpose doing that. I thought I was going to have a whole bunch of free time once I finished high school to play video games and do different things. I don't have time for any of that since I graduated high school. It's been school, it's been work, it's been research, it's been productivity. I'm a martial arts instructor. I'm an educator. I'm an author. I run a business. I do different things during my free time to be productive and advance my people. So any man you see just standing on the corner, if he's not out there trying to pull the youth off the corner, those type of men have that energy to where they don't love themselves and they don't love their community.
So and I think that's a great sense of leadership, but do most men have that leadership skill? A lot of men want women to submit, right? Mm-hmm. If not all, if not most, I should say. But do they actually qualify to be submitted to?
Most men?
On a majority scale?
In my opinion, no. Based on what I live by and the principles I live by, because I don't believe, I'm an Israelite, so I live by the Bible, and I believe that we are the chosen people of God. And there's certain principles in a certain way and a certain level of discipline that we got to live with. And most men don't even abide by that or know what that entails. So I would say most men don't. But I would say whenever seeking a partner, you need to know who you're submitting yourself to. You need to make sure that they meet all of the qualifications so that you can submit yourself to the right person.
I'm trying to figure out if the basis of being, I guess, deemed worthy to be submitted to is discipline. If I'm trying to generalize attributes that you must have, I mean, even if you're somebody of faith or you're a person of faith, and you're walking and living in that faith on a daily basis, that requires discipline, right? If you're able to say no to different influences outside, such as drinking, smoking, whatever, that requires discipline. Right. If you're, hey, I'm going to stay, in shape, watch what I eat, know what I eat, study, do my research, not only on the food or on my food, but just on everyday life and even history, that requires discipline. So are we saying that majority of men don't have discipline in the right areas or discipline at all?
No, they have discipline, just like not in the right areas, like you said. And it's a lot of words that come to mind, a lot of adjectives that I know I display, and I don't know if it's on the level of where I would like to see it as. So like discipline, integrity, honor, morals, code, all of those type of words, I don't see it displayed on a high enough level for, what I envision for the Black community. I don't see it displayed by Black men or Black women as of right now. And that's what inspired me to write my book. I wrote the book called Black Supremacy. And I believe in Black people and our resilience and our intellect and our innovativeness. We've inspired the world with our innovativeness. Everything comes from us: math, science, medicine, dentistry. We started all of that. And then all of the things that we did in America, all of our inventions under the foot of oppression just shows our resilience. We need to get back to that, what allowed our ancestors to thrive in the face of oppression. That took discipline. Mm-hmm. That took, a certain level of focus and a certain level of mental fortitude that I don't see being displayed nowadays. You got too many people, even if they're not, incarcerated or out committing crimes, there's too many people that just want to sit around and, they want to smoke some weed, or they feel like they need certain drugs to escape, or they don't have enough, they don't have enough healthy habits. And there's too many different things that I see that I would strongly disagree with. And, I think, the Black community is not a monolith, but I think on certain things we should be a monolith.
Like
discipline, healthy eating habits, exercise, no gangs, no drug dealing, no forms of abuse, whether physical or mental abuse. Those are things that just should be like, we should really just humiliate people for even trying to bring that in our community. When we see like women twerking in public or twerking on Instagram, or they posting booty pictures, you shouldn't like that. We should ignore them. They shouldn't get no love, because that's not how you carry yourself as a female. I think the woman and the men should be saying that. Like, this is how you carry yourself as a woman, this is how you carry yourself as a man. When I see grown men, 25 plus, walking around with bandanas, their pants sagging, that's disgraceful. You look like a goofy. That's the same equivalent of when we see, women don't like when they see men holding their finger up in a picture. It looks childish. That's the same thing I see when you taking a booty picture and you posting it, or you sitting on a sink. You look childish. And why are you leading with your body? Like, do you know the history of black women and what we've been through? It's
I just
crazy.
believe that a lot of our Black women are weaker now than ever.
That's for damn sure.
And that's why they're leading with their bodies.
That was a part of the whole agenda.
Yeah, like to break them down, and even the men. Right? I think as a community and as a nation, there are more weak-minded people than there are strong-minded people. Right. Before, the history of America, or the people in America, post-slavery, was all about strength, right? Mm-hmm. Mind, body, soul. Right. In multiple different areas, in multiple different ways that they displayed that. Now we have obesity as an issue.
Right.
We have discipline that's an issue.
Right.
We have morals that's an issue. Integrity. Everything that you just said is literally an issue in our community and around us. But for some reason, we're the ones that's glorified for it. For some reasons, we're the ones that don't want to be ridiculed for it, shamed on for it. And I don't agree with that. Now, we have so many different, and I'm not too sure if you're even into this conversation about alphas and betas, but we are now seeing a lot of beta men trying to mimic the alpha men. Is there a blur between the lines there, or what's your thoughts and opinions on that?
I think the alphas are the men who stand for something, and I think betas don't. I think I have a quote, you can't transform if you conform. So if you want to make a difference, you got to stand on what you stand on. I'm one of the ones who I stand on, strength, masculinity, gender roles, strong body, strong mind, strong spirit. I stand on that. I objectively know what will benefit the Black community. I'm not one who, dances around that. Like, for example, Dwayne Wade, what he's doing with his son, I'm firmly against it.
You and me both.
I don't promote Black male emasculation. So just because you try to frame it in the form of parenting, I can't support it, So it's still emasculating. Fountain Hughes was a slave, one of the last living slaves in America. He died in 1957. And there's an interview with him talking about how they made the Black male slaves wear dresses until they were 15, 16, 17 years old to emasculate them. So just to see a man in the 21st century doing that to his son on purpose, or allowing it to happen on purpose
in public,
it's ridiculous to me. It's like, if you know the history of buck breaking and all the things they did to the male slave, I can't support anything that falls in line with that. And we just got to be men and stand on that. Like, because I got people I'm cool with, childhood friends I grew up with, and if it was them, I would tell them I don't support it. Like, hey, we cool, but I don't support that. I think it's wrong.
I agree. I have a question. We typically don't get into this, but I wanted to, you mentioned this, and I also wanted to unpack this because it's something that I've been researching a lot on for years. I actually know a couple people as well. You said that you were a Hebrew Israelite, or you were Israelite, I'm sorry.
Israelite, yeah.
How did you get into this portion, or how should I word it? How did you get to this religion or this ideology of the religion?
Yeah, ideology is better because we don't really view it as a religion.
Yeah.
It's more of like a race. It'll fall under like a racial category. But just doing hermeneutics, like in my early 20s, I was studying a whole bunch of different topics and spiritualities. I was looking at ancient Kemet. I was looking at different. I was looking at like Islam. I was looking at people like Noble Drew Ali, Farad Muhammad, Charles Clarence 13X with the God bodies. I was looking at different belief systems, and I was trying to figure out which one made the most sense. I was looking at, different agnostic spiritualities, Taoism. I was looking at, atheism, and then, just reading the Bible and getting deep into the Bible and looking at different artifacts like Israel Hill, the Meneptah Stele, the Decalogue Stone, the Leningrad, the Aleppo, the Dead Sea Scrolls, seeing all of this history that supported it, and then just reading the descriptions of the people in the Bible, I'm like, this makes sense for us to be the chosen people. I'm like, we fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And then I grew up a Christian my whole life. I was a Baptist, went to church on Sundays, and so I was already sort of familiar with certain verses, but I was like, if I'm going to stay in this Bible, I need to study more. Like, as going into my adulthood as being a man, like, I need to know what I believe in firmly and really stand on it. So I read Deuteronomy 7 and 6 that said God had a chosen people, and he said those are the Israelites. So I said, if I'm not those people, then it would make no sense for me to keep holding on to this book. But when you read, Genesis and Deuteronomy, the 12 tribes, Judah, Gad, Nab, Issachar, Manasseh, and all of those different tribes, we fit the curses. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans fit the curses of those people. So then just studying other historical people who believed in it. Like, if you look up people like Gabriel Prosser or Denmark Vesey or John Horse or Nat Turner, they all were biblical people who, like saying they believed in biblical texts. And they led revolutions, rebellions to help free their people. And those are like, sort of heroes to me, like inspirational, especially when I look up like Denmark Vesey. he was a free man. He was free for 30 years and led a rebellion. Like, that type of strength. Like, he was successful in his own way. He bought his freedom. He won the lottery. He bought his freedom, and he sat around for 30 years, and he just got ticked off. I was like, yo, I got to do something about this. So how many men today could sit around and be free from slavery, and then still say, like, no, I want my people free, not just myself?
And I agree wholeheartedly, because I've been saying for a long time, and I look at it from a smaller but the same perspective, a small scale but same perspective. Like, if you're a black man and you think that taking care of your family is the only objective, then you're not doing much for our community, right? And I think if you don't, well, I don't want to say I think, I believe if you are not a man who is about the community, you're a man of nothing, right? And that's just because if we look at what has happened, they have weaponized the greatest things against us by not allowing us to see ourselves at that high end or at that high scale, right? At that high status. You know, every superhero, even our gods, we're all a different color than us. How could we be of that? And now you're seeing the same thing, you know, and I personally believe that they had the agenda, right? And which is why we're at where we're at now. And to a point where, you know, I was actually listening to Power 105 today, Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and God, and they had, or maybe it was yesterday, and they had Al Sharpton on there. And he was talking about how, I believe it was since, and I won't state this as a quote, but I'm paraphrasing what I recall, since the 60s, we haven't passed down wealth to our families, right? Since approximately then. And we also touched base on that here, where there was another quote that said, by 2053, there will be no wealth passed down to the black families in America.
Yeah.
At this, you know,
current rate.
Yeah. So what does that look like in terms of, like, what does the future hold for our families when it comes to financial wealth? And what do you believe, I should say, in the black family?
I believe in building financial wealth and generational wealth. I think that people should go about it in a strategic way. And I actually spoke about this before, but even Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she said it about black people, you know, reproducing and having children in the current, you know, economy. Children are serious. So before we even think to reproduce, we should be in a certain space financially. Like, you should have a certain amount of income, a certain amount, and, you know, saved before you think of reproducing, because that's going to benefit your children in the long run, and it's going to set them up in the long run. And, you know, a lot of people talk about different things about how long kids stay home or when they should move out. You should move out when you're financially stable. And I believe in setting our kids up before we send them into the world. So, like, if you send your kid off into the world at, say, they're 21, they finish college, and you're like, all right, I've taught you financial literacy. Also, here's $15,000 to go get your first apartment. You have a job. I'm going to furnish your apartment. I paid the first 2 months, 3 months rent. You have $15,000 in the bank. You know financial literacy. You've set them up to be successful. That's different than, okay, you 21, you finished. I'm like, all right, get out. You know, go get a job, go get your own place. You got to save up $8,000 to get your own place. Like, and you haven't taught them nothing. You're setting them up for failure. So we got to teach financial literacy and also put ourselves in a certain financial space before we reproduce. That's why I don't have children, biological kids yet, because I believe in having resources and everything in a certain space before you do that. I don't believe in having kids and then figuring it out. And there's too many people do that. And people like to talk around it, they're doing the best they can do, and it's all right, you know, they're still putting food on the table. And my parents didn't have that much money and I turned out fine. But we should be doing better than the next generation, not trying to mimic the next generation and just say, oh, it'll be okay. No, set your kids up to be in the best situation and have the best opportunity at being successful. And that comes from you having certain finances so that you can provide your kids with certain resources. Maybe they can learn an extra language. They could play an instrument. They can play sports. Different things you can expose them to, which cost money, to allow them to be more successful.
So we have nature versus nurture. Mm-hmm. And I'm bringing this up because we have two sides of the coin, same coin.
Yeah.
Right? One side is we're setting you up. You have the proper resources. Since birth, you were taught the way to go about things. Mm-hmm. You were taught the investment strategies. You were taught the financial literacy. You were taught the morals, the standards. You were taught the way that you were supposed to carry yourself from the house. Mm-hmm. Now you get out into the real world and you still make all the opposite decisions of what you were supposed to know, right? Mm-hmm. Could you jog with the idea that the environment and influence is bigger now than ever?
I mean, it's possible. It's just not probable.
Let me give you an example, right? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, I got a good example.
All right. Go ahead.
An example of what you're talking about would be, you know the rapper A.R.Ab?
Yes, I do.
He said out his own mouth he grew up in a good household. He was Muslim. He had both of his parents. He said that he went out into the community and he chose to do certain things in the community. He said that in an interview. So that's why we got to take care of both the household and our communities, because it's very hard to raise, this civilized human being within your, hut or whatever, but then you send them out into the jungle every day and just expect them to come back and then just be, they're not a beast. To survive out there in the jungle, they had to have certain, instincts and characteristics to survive in the jungle. So we can't expect to send our kids around gangs, violence, drugs, all of that in the community. And then you come home and we prayed up and we eating dinner together and the house is nice. But what they're exposed to still puts an added weight on them. Now, I still think that the vast majority of the time, if the household is okay, they can overcome what's taking place in the community. But it does put an added challenge in the way.
So here's my perspective. Mm-hmm. We're now seeing more AABs than ever.
AR-abs?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we are now seeing more AR-abs, and I don't want to use that because I love his music.
I like it. I know he got a song. He got a good song called "Scarred." I like this. I like his music.
Yo, Mud Music. I was a big AR-ab fan, right? Mm-hmm. But also, I was in a whole different mindset at that time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I say that to say we have more people who are not even exposed to it. In terms of they go to different schools, private schools, they live in great communities with great parents, well, assumed to be great parents, parents that are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing at least, right? Mm-hmm. But these people go out of their way to be something that they are totally unfamiliar with. Mm-hmm. And I also believe, and I hate this whole blaming the social media game, but whatever is glorified at the top is what people want to be, even when they have no parts of it.
Right.
Like, why are you over there and your whole life was over here? Right. But yet your favorite rapper is NBA Youngboy.
Right.
Right. So now you're trying to live. I think now we're having kids live lives, or young adults live lives that they don't have any business living, even though they do have that environment that you spoke of, from their upbringing. And that makes me want to ask you, how, I don't want to say should, but how do we cancel money without morals? Like, how do we do it?
How do we cancel money without morals?
Yeah, because and I don't know NBA Youngboy's personal life, so I can't, I don't want to use him as a whole example, but just based on his music, it's not moral. It's not morally right, you know what I'm saying? So, and I got kids, right? I got an 11-year-old boy who now is listening to music that I'm like, what is going on? It almost sounds possessing, but again, The question is, how do we cancel being profitable but lacking morals?
Speaking out against it, like not supporting it. Like that's what I'm big on. I tell all of my students, everyone I mentor, I'm like, I hope you understand. I don't like the main part of the problem with this stuff is it's become a social contagion. Like people are latching on to this music and certain negative things because it's popular. And like you said, because it's on social media, they see these type of rappers who display this type of behavior. They got the fancy jewelry, they got the money, they got the woman. But the main way to cancel that out is the household. Your kids should look up to you more than they look up to anyone else. And if you are someone who's the complete opposite of that, that's how you cancel it. The problem is when they don't have the right mentors in their life, they don't have their parents aren't who they prioritize looking up to. That's the problem. I looked up to my father, like growing up. I still look up to my father. I was so impressed with like my father's story. I used to go to work with my father, see him work hard. I remember seeing my father do all of the manly things. My father taught me how to change a tire on a car. He taught me how to put brake pads on a car. He taught me how to tie a tie. I looked up to my father first before I looked up to any other male figures. So my father was a positive role model. So it's who they have to look up to. If a kid, that's why I call all of my kids, all of the students I mentor, I call them my sons and daughters. I try to be that person that they can look up to. And the crazy thing about it is as my popularity grows, like they already value me as a mentor, but when they see me on a podcast, because that's this generation, they're like, oh my God, Dr. James, I saw you on a podcast. I saw you. That's this generation. So like, it's sad that many of them, they will gravitate towards one of these artists more than people who are right in front of them, because this generation is the social media, the podcast, the internet. They need people right in front of them saying like, look, your morals and your principles are what come first, not everything else. And I've seen some of them, like even the ones who they look up to me and I give them rules to follow, like don't do this, don't do this. Some of them are ashamed to let me catch them breaking one of the rules. I saw one of my students the other day and I didn't know why she was acting shy when I ran up on her. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Or whatever. She got a new tattoo. And then I saw it, I'm like, oh, it was on her arm. And she was like, because she knows I don't like that. And I'm like, and first of all, you too young. You're in high school. You don't need to be getting all them tattoos. But she felt sort of ashamed because that lets me know that she's considering what I tell them to do. But it's still, this is the generation of tattoos. So that's what I'm talking about. She still went and got one, even though she looks up to me and felt ashamed and felt the way when I ran up on her. They still gravitate towards what's popular now.
So you looked up to your father, and I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. But let's just go with what you said earlier. Every generation should have it a little bit easier. Shouldn't be the same. It should be progressed, I should say. Not easier, but it should be progressed into a more simplistic or more efficient way. Mm-hmm. Are we potentially witnessing a new way to be a man that's more efficient? For example, you had to be handy maybe in the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, whatever it is, maybe even 90s. You had to learn how to change a tire. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, my car drives itself. Mm-hmm. And if it actually does have a flat, assuming this gets to this point, somebody automatically is there within 30 minutes to change the tire, right? Due to technology, right? Referring to Tesla. Are we now witnessing? Are we witnessing men making it easier to be a man, but at the same time, are we losing the value of being a man by making it more simple for us?
Is it easier to be a man based on that? I mean, I think those are just things that men should know how to do. Like that's something basic, like changing a tire. You should know how to do that. Even if you don't have to, like I got run flats. I won't get a flat tire. Like I'm not gonna get a flat tire. That's what they're made for. You can get to a mechanic shop by the time it's flat if it's going flat.
If you realize it.
Nah, the car tells you.
Yeah, but like when you're driving, you be like, all right, like, it's like
nah.
You put a little bit of air in it, thinking that it's set to go out and shit.
I'm too attentive. I'm like, so like, you pay attention to those things, but I think certain things like I'm handy on a certain level. Like I work on. Like when I'm flipping a property, I'll work on the property. I'll do stuff with the tiling and certain things. I think on a certain level, it's just stuff that as men, that's what we're there for, to know how to do. Like we're changing the doorknobs, we're changing, the smoke alarm, or, we're changing those things if they need to be changed. And you should know how to change it. You shouldn't have to call someone for certain things. So I think in a way, technology is just making everyone more lazy and like less inclined to know how to do certain things just because technology just does it for you. So I don't even think we're more efficient. My father could do all types of things.
But the evolution of a woman is way different in the last 30 years. And I feel like the evolution of a man is still very close to what it used to be in the last 30 years. Now there is some friction and there is a gap, but it's not far off.
What was that you said? The evolution of a woman? I didn't hear it.
The evolution of the woman is a lot different in the last 30 years.
Right.
A lot different. The ideologies, the ambition and drive, the amount of women who has bought into the new ideologies or the new way of being versus the evolution of the man is still relatively close as to the last 30 years.
Right.
So now we're having a big difference between two different, genders or sex, whatever. And I think, I believe one of the main frictions that we have, or the main reasons for the friction that we have, is that even a woman saying that she values a man being handy, because the man who is not handy, she may look at him as less than a man. Mm-hmm. Typically speaking, the man who is more handy has a lot less access to resources in today's world, right? So now the man who has money is more inclined to pay somebody or hire somebody. So now he's looked at as more of a man because he has the resources to do so, to not have to do the labor.
I don't know about that. He's looked at more as a man. As long as a man...
I'm saying by the woman, not by men.
No,
yeah.
I don't even think about a woman. As long as he could get it done. I think women appreciate seeing a man do something like, oh, boom, a light bulb gets knocked out. Whether you pay someone to come fix the light bulb or you get up there and fix it yourself, I think women like it. And I actually think they like seeing men be more hands-on and fix it. They love problem solvers. Yeah. They love you, and they love intellect. That's why the majority of women identify as sapiosexual. They love being able to learn from you, especially if you could sit right there and teach them how you're doing it. Like, yo, babe, all you got to do is take this wire, put this through here like this, and boom, pop it back in and it's done. They love that.
You know what's been popping up on my feed a lot? Women who are actually doing crazy types of like construction work, like building stuff. Like she'll take a plank, a wood plank, and she's sawing things down, she's measuring things out, and she's actually building like
DIY.
Yeah, DIY, right? Yeah. And like they've built their own like patios in the backyard and like different stuff like that. So I'm like, where did they learn how to do this?
A tutorial, YouTube. If you know how to follow steps and instructions, this stuff is not hard to do if you have the materials.
But maybe what I'm saying is, I'm trying to allude to your point, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're learning from the husband that are there. Because some of the times I'll actually see the man there too. No?
Those women
they want to do it themselves.
Women don't want to do that stuff. If they have a man, the man is doing it.
They were serious about their craft, where they completely like pushed out majority of the distractions, which are typically women for a man. Mm-hmm. So now that they've got to that point where they're at the promised land, they're at that NFL mark or NBA mark, MLB, whatever it is. They're at that professional level. Now they're literally enjoying the fruits of their labor when it comes to the dating aspect, which is why they become more so foolish and frivolous when it comes to their money and women. They're not dumb individuals. They're just dumb with women. Like, they didn't practice that. You know, a lot of men didn't practice. Like, and I say this, and this is going to sound funny, but the best players, and this is based on my own life, the best players who went the furthest, and I was a great player myself.
At what?
At football. Yeah, well, I was a great player at a lot of sports, but football was my passion. So
that's mine too, football.
What would you play? What position?
Man, I played in high school. I played every position. Yeah. Running back. I was linebacker, DN. Those are middle linebacker, outside linebacker, DN, and running back.
So there you go. So well, I play receiver, cornerback, safety, and outside linebacker, right? And when you are a good athlete, by the way, you play multiple positions typically. But those people, the best people that went the furthest, were the ugliest. Wait, what I'm saying in my life, in my experience, right?
Ugliest.
Yeah, like they didn't get the girl. They were looked at as like, all right, weird, but he was good at football. What? Like the guy who was like me, and I was getting the girls. You know, I was distracted.
I can't say that. I can't agree with that, yo. First of all, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone.
Okay,
she is fine. The 400-meter hurdles champion, the world record holder. Yeah. Serena Williams, when she was Serena Williams, the black one.
Nah.
She looked good. But
those are very few.
Carmelita Jeter.
Nah, bro.
So many female athletes who look good. What's the one who she sometimes...
Wait. Female athletes are different because you just saw the girl, Jesus, I don't know her name, but she's in the WNBA. She just signed with Playboy.
Oh, that's ridiculous. No, I'm not talking about that. I know who you're talking about.
But I'm saying that as a woman, they still want beauty.
I still don't agree with that then, because my homeboy, he's the nice, my homeboy Julian, I'm gonna show him this clip now. My homeboy Julian was he got a whole bunch of girls. And I played with football from when we was 7 to when he graduated. He got a full scholarship to Rutgers. He was all state, like nice. He played. Yeah. This brother was our quarterback, punt returner, kick returner, and
he was the whole
safety.
team. He was the whole team.
He was that nice. Like, so he was so damn good. I played and didn't want to play. I wanted to watch the game. I wanted to see the
highlight tape.
I'm like, yo, yes. I'm like, all right, yo, they punting to him right now. I need to see this. I don't want to block for him. I want to watch this. Yeah. Like, he had one game where he returned 3 punts.
God damn, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's nuts.
Like, he went and did it was in the rain. He went and did a spin and they all missed. I'm like,
they all missed.
Imagine like they surround the player. You like, all right, they got him. He spun and everybody was touchdown. I'm like, yo. But he got all the chicks.
But so like there's definitely that special player, right? Who's the one.
I was nice. I don't consider myself to be ugly. I got women. I don't consider myself to be ugly.
But I'm not. I didn't say nice. I said that went the furthest. Yeah.
No,
because I was nice too.
No,
but
I was scholarship though.
Me too.
What you talking about? You been in the league? What are you talking about?
But yeah, that's why I really mean the league or like.
Oh, come on.
Because like when you look at it,
about a 1% chance now. That's crazy.
And imagine you have to have 0 distractions to be a part of 1%, or very few.
All right, so you want to use the league? Reggie Bush got chicks.
He's an exception.
All right.
But look at somebody. Look at half of the offensive linemen and defensive linemen.
They big as hell.
All right, look at the linebackers. They all look like crazy criminals.
Linebackers are big as hell too.
But all right, and the DBs.
So you got to go with DBs and wide receivers because they all
wide receivers don't count because they're halfway basketball players.
No, they not.
Yes, they are.
Deion Sanders, he played some. He was a DB, but he played some.
Like they had basketball tendencies, like prima donna ish.
Yo, all of the football players would disagree with you right now. The whole NFL is saying
I'm a defensive player,
ugly,
so like
what?
I'm a defensive player, so I'm a primarily defensive player, right? So whenever
you're saying the defensive players that go far are ugly as hell and don't get women?
Majority. I would say 70%, 75.
So, but how could we gauge that? Because once they get the money, they get all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they be acting crazy.
They act crazy?
Yeah, like with women, I'm saying.
I know who you have in mind. You have that kid in mind.
There's a lot of them.
No.
I know. You know how many?
What's his name? Travis Hunter.
Well, Travis Hunter is crazy too.
That's who you talking about.
But no, he's you know what's crazy?
He try to talk about him and generalize.
I'll be honest, right? He is an exact fit for the description. But I wasn't talking about him. I have so my high school, right? There was 11 seniors. 7 of us went to play college football, right? Mm-hmm. And the juniors. There was 15 juniors that became seniors, and 6 went to play college football. Juniors and seniors started you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So majority of the starters from when I was in high school went to play college somewhere, whether it was D1, D2, D3. Mm-hmm. 2 of them went to the NFL. The ones that went to the NFL.
Played with 2 dudes that went to the NFL?
Yeah.
What school? Where is this?
Well, we played at the best division, Red Division in New Jersey.
2?
2, yeah.
That you play with?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there was more that I technically didn't play with because I was a freshman, they were seniors, but I'm talking about from my actual class. And they were the ugliest. They were the ugliest. And one of them was shocking because it was you were never that good, but you were a good, hardworking, disciplined person. So you walked on and then you got on to Rutgers and then, whatever. And he went there. I mean, he didn't last long. Neither of them did. They probably lasted 1 or 2 years and they bounced around in practice squad, but then they fell off, right? Mm-hmm. But needless to say, and even all the other schools, because there's 3 high schools in my township, all of the ones that went the furthest in any sport was the ugliest. Besides baseball, it was always weird with baseball. But when I'm speaking about football and basketball, that's what I'm saying. There's no distractions with women. Alan sent me something about delayed gratification, which I do understand, and I believe most successful people had delayed gratification, whatever the process and journey was. Now, on the flip side, we have somebody by the name of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, who has a very famous line, and it's damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. Fuck happened to you, right? So he didn't have that delayed gratification because he had success so early on in his life. He thought it was going to probably go forward, but usually the ones who have early success fall off.
How old is early?
How old is early?
Yeah.
I'm going to say between the ages of 16 and 20.
50 Cent didn't have that.
What do you mean? No, that's why he's successful, and he was making fun of the person that
Oh, you're talking about the person? Oh, okay.
Like whoever was damn homie that he was referring to, that person. 50 Cent was probably, and I mean, look, I think 50 Cent's still an ugly guy. So I'm going to assume back then he wasn't really getting women like that, but that's probably why he got money. Because you save money when you don't get women. Well, he was
getting money in the streets at a younger age.
Yeah.
And his story is that he was selling drugs since he was like 18, 19.
But why?
Because he was selling drugs.
He didn't buy that.
That's what
he wanted to get women.
No, but that's also but in the hood, that's also a symbol of power. When I could come through in this type of vehicle or this type of jewelry and I'm allowed to wear it and you don't try to take it, it's power. So it serves 2 purposes.
All right, here's my main thing. Women are distractions. This is not, especially at an early age in your life, right? Which is why a lot of people would say, hey, don't get into a relationship until you get, stable. Why? Because it costs money to be in a relationship. You tend as a man to do more just because you love this person, especially if you do have the resources, even knowing that those resources are not solidified. You might have them today, they might be gone tomorrow. Whatever might be your source of income today may not last tomorrow. So what happens is the men who are not desired by women, I believe, early on in their life, that mid-teen to early adulthood, tend to not have those distractions and are able to go forward. Now, when you do have that satisfaction, because when you get the girls at a young age, you're that man. You're that guy. Like, damn, there's really no real money. Like, it's kind of like there's some people who all right, cool, that their family got money, he might get money, but if he don't get girls in high school, he's not that guy. It don't even matter what sport he plays. He could be the best sport player, but if he's getting 0 girls in high school, he's not being acknowledged by everybody. I mean, in my high school, I can't speak
That doesn't even usually happen though, because women usually judge off of certain different parameters of success. Like, if you're a good athlete, they'll like you because you're a good athlete.
Yeah, but it's only one. And it's like, he had that same girl for 3 years and no other girls really trying to push up on him. There's one girl that sees the bigger picture, right? And he's like, damn, he been with her since high school.
I don't even agree with that because women love height. He's 6'9".
No, that's scary height. They like 6'2", 6'4".
Women be loving like height. They be loving like just massively tall dudes because they think security. They like, yo, my man is a giant. Nobody gonna mess with me because my dude is 6'9".
I think maybe, yes, back in the day that might have been more so the ideology, but today I know women that are like 5'2", and they'll be like, if a man is 6'5" talking to me, I think he thinks he's my size. The truth has come to the light that height does not necessarily mean protection. In fact, majority of being tall is a recessive gene, by the way, scientifically proven. So you see a lot of tall people are typically.
If I wasn't sitting right here with you, I would think you were 5'5".
No, I'm not 5. I'm 5'11", right? But what I'm saying, but there's a thing called, for example, we all know about what's it called? Napoleon complex.
Right.
Because being short is a dominant gene. Right? So you have to. A lot of tall people are typically softer. And in the words of football, I'm just saying, I'm a football player. I can't speak about the world. So what happens is a lot of people who were tall has now been exposed to the fact that just because you are tall does not necessarily mean that you're tough, does not necessarily mean that you're protective, does not necessarily mean that you're a man. So now...
Well, yeah, there's no causational study that's going to say your height means you're more...
But I'm saying that was a delusion of women that have now been showcased on the internet that height means nothing, right? When I say height, I'm not talking about 5'5" versus 6'1". I'm talking about 6'6", 6'10". Like, how many women you see want a 7-foot guy?
But they just prefer taller.
Yeah, taller than them.
It's like, yes. So then you get the women who are, what's that female basketball chick? The one she has a
Angel
podcast.
Reese?
Angel Reese. So she's 6'3". She wants a dude that's like 7 feet.
I think she's 6'1". All right, so when we're talking about Angel Reese, there's a narrative that's going out that's saying, who's the other woman who's like the opposite of her? She's a white girl. She's in the WNBA as well.
Caitlin Clark, yeah.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark. They're saying she's allegedly as good as her, but because she's black, right, she's not getting the same amount of endorsements, sponsorships, and resources. But here's the thing, though. Caitlin Clark wasn't dressed in lingerie, wasn't wearing short skirts, wasn't doing all the promiscuous things that Angel Reese is doing, or did, and now even doing more so, right? She kind of stuck to, a lot of her money comes from Nike, right? So she stuck to, I'm going to keep it clean and keep it classy, we'll just say, versus for some reason, all of our popular people in our community want to jump to the other route where it embodies promiscuity or, drug dealing. You have somebody like Jello, who is like
Lamar's brother?
Yeah, the bald brother.
Yeah.
Who's now a rapper with tattoos and sagging his pants and got fat out of nowhere, right? I just don't understand why we have to, for our community, in order to be at the top, you have to be either a thought or some type of hood gangbanger.
Well, LeBron James didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything negative, which is what I'm saying. I don't know why people hate on him.
Well, I don't like LeBron. Well, you
literally just took it out. I don't know why people hate on him. Right? Single parent household, grew up in the projects. He had the mental strength to deny a contract from Adidas for millions of dollars, and he was like, "Nah, I don't want that. I know I could get more elsewhere." Was patiently waited for Nike. Been married to a black woman. Got 3 kids. You didn't hear nothing about his name, him stepping out or nothing, him leading his household.
That's because he got the money to shut him up. But this is my problem with LeBron.
Right, I want to hear this.
One of my problems with LeBron is the fact that he competes with Michael Jordan. It's not ever going to happen, right?
He competes with Michael Jordan?
Yeah, like the legacy and the body of work.
He's just playing basketball.
No, he's not.
He's better.
No, he's not. Wait, stop.
Objectively, he's better.
Stop. No, he is not
Stephen
better.
A.
I know I'm not even a Stephen A. fan, but yo, LeBron, you can pull up on me at any court side.
LeBron is better. Objectively, he's better.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
But before I get into that, which is a different topic, right? LeBron, and you watch a lot of if you just watch a lot of the interviews that he has had, or just moments on camera that he has had that weren't necessarily interviews. For example, maybe him inside of his house or shooting in the basketball court in his backyard, right? And then you also compare it to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had a humility to him that was bigger, right? Michael Jordan would also always say, I don't consider myself the GOAT. It's hard to say. But LeBron James will openly say, I'm the greatest to ever do it. And you're not, right? So my problem with LeBron is that he's the best loser to ever exist, right?
Also not true.
Yes, he is. I said LeBron is the best loser, which means he's arguably number 2.
He's not the best. He's not the best loser though.
And he's like 4 for 10 in the finals. like if you have
he's 4 out of 10. And is basketball a team sport?
No, it's not, bro. There's 5 players, and you can literally beat 4 of them.
Basketball was if basketball was an individual sport, LeBron would be 9-1 in the finals.
No, he wouldn't. We just watched him lose literally. In who did he lose to? Jesus Christ! At the end of the game, the Heat,
Chicago,
the Bulls, right?
Right.
You watched him lose.
I didn't watch him lose. I watched the Lakers lose.
He gave up a 3. He turned the ball over and gave up another 3 as a buzzer beater, all in 20 or less seconds.
That's
why he's the greatest loser.
A game is 48 minutes.
No, it's not. No.
It is.
That's like football. Literally. It's a game of inches, right?
No, we play 48 minutes.
But it's a game of inches.
But it's how you perform for 48 minutes. But you're not going to just look at the last minute of the game and say, yo, look what we did.
That's what matters the most.
No,
2 minute,
the whole game matters.
No.
Yes, literally.
Right. We'll move off for sports. We're going to have a sports podcast, me and you.
Sports relates to what we're talking about. And LeBron came from less and accomplished more than Jordan. And he's also with a black woman. And who's Jordan with?
He's the GOAT. He don't have to be with anybody.
Right. His mentality ain't goatish when he steps out away from black women.
I'm going to tell you what Michael Jordan did, which is what LeBron didn't do and couldn't do. Michael Jordan held people accountable and forcefully put them in check whenever they stepped out. You know what LeBron does? He calls the GM and has you traded.
That's not facts. That's just not facts.
Well, this is what his teammates have said on other podcasts. So you had Mario Chalmers, who said that they had an issue because he told him to stop bitching. You had Dwight Howard, and there was a third person.
Mario Chalmers apologized.
What, after that?
Yep.
That's because of what? He's a woman. He's a big ass woman.
You talking about Chalmers?
Chalmers is not emotional. He apologized because LeBron got that power. We don't want no smoke with you, LeBron.
LeBron is the greatest basketball player of all time. We don't want no smoke with LeBron. He's made 4 times the amount of threes than Michael Jordan. He's about to pass Reggie Miller in threes. He's number 1 in scoring, number 4 in assists.
He's been in the league
like
for
10 away from passing Reggie Miller in threes.
He has like double the career of both of these people.
No, he doesn't have double. Jordan played for 15 seasons. He's at 22.
All right. Cool. 1.5. He's at 50%. He's at 50%.
He's a more efficient scorer.
No, he is not.
He literally is. He's more efficient from 2 and more efficient from 3. That's a fact.
How is he more efficient when he has an average that is less than?
Because he's more efficient. Efficiency goes to percentage.
No.
He has a higher shooting percentage from 2 and 3. He takes less shots than Jordan, which is why he averages 27 and Jordan averages 30. He's still more efficient.
How is he more efficient? Because he took less shots. But him taking less shots is a direct cause of him having less championships.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. He passes up the big shot every time.
No, he makes the correct play.
No.
And trusts other professionals to be professionals.
You cannot do that.
Ray Allen is on your team, and Ray Allen is one of the best three-point shooters of all time objectively, why wouldn't you pass to Ray Allen instead of being selfish and trying to shoot that yourself?
Well, when he had Ray Allen, who is also another Hall of Famer.
Correct.
He won. right? That's why it's the correct play. But when you pass to J.R. Smith,
Jordan always
J.R. Smith is not Ray Allen. J.R. Smith is not Ray Allen.
He's a 3-point shooter who's wide open. No.
He is not Ray Allen.
He's definitely
You have a better chance of going and getting a 3-point play than passing it to J.R. And shout out to J.R. Smith.
Like
J.R. Smith follows me on Instagram. That's not no shade. I'm just saying.
J.R. get him. J.R. get him.
I'm just saying.
Said he shouldn't have passed it to
J.R. is not Ray Allen.
You should have told me he's following you because I hope J.R. see this. He should have passed it to J.R. J.R.'s wide open. He's a professional.
I ain't dugging no smoke. J.R. probably said the same thing about LeBron when I talked to him.
No, he wouldn't say it. No, he would not say that because that's a part of his genius to make the right play. And
that's not the right
trust
play.
Your teammates to make the play.
You mean to tell me that the right play can actually make you lose more than you can win?
No, because you only say that in hindsight after the person misses. He's trusting that they're going to make it. He's trusting them to be a professional.
But he's not trusting them to be what they are, which is typically inconsistent.
No.
Yes.
No, he doesn't. You
want to watch film together?
Yes.
All right, cool.
LeBron is the GOAT.
No, he is not. So look, let's segue off of sports for a second. Mm-hmm. Let's go back into what's beneficial for our community.
Right.
Do you feel that black men struggle with monogamy?
Struggle with monogamy.
You know, given context of how much infidelity has been happening, does still happen. Now the desire of not even trying to entertain monogamy is becoming like a new trend, I would say. Are we just struggling with monogamy? Are we monogamous? Are we monogamish?
I think it depends on how we're looking at it. Many men, I would say most men aren't even set up for monogamy. It just matters if they're being honest or not. So,
can you elaborate on
the struggle is in not being honest. When they get with a woman, they should tell them like, look, I'm looking more for, a polygynous type of relationship. I'm not looking for, a monogamous type of relationship. Like Neo. Neo said he started off with, he was lying. He was lying to them, lying to himself. Now he's in a situation where he's got 4 women and it's more natural. So the struggle is like when not being honest with yourself about what you really desire, and whether or not a person can pull that out of you. I think most men, when they're happy and they feel fulfilled by one woman, they could be with one woman. Like when I'm with a woman and I feel truly fulfilled in every way, like physically, emotionally, mentally, how I feel around her, I don't desire other women. But that's me, and I have that level of discipline. But I've been in situations where, but that's how it lets me choose though, because I desire, I don't want to have to be in a polygynous type of relationship, even though under my belief we're allowed to.
Mm-hmm. I was going to touch on that.
Yeah, but when I'm with a woman and I don't desire other women, that's when I know like her and I need to go steady, because I know I really care about her on that level. And I think more women should think about that. If a man is truly fulfilled within his relationship, it can make stepping out very, very difficult, because then, like, if he has the morals, the men with morals don't struggle with monogamy, because you'll love the woman so much that you'll have to be honest with her before you step out. Like, you'll feel bad about doing it. Like, yo, I really love this woman. She's been down for me. She's riding for me. That's why it's important for these women to get a man with morals, because the man without morals, he'll cheat. He won't feel bad about it. He's like, oh, she know that. Like, I'm just doing what, men do. A man with morals, be like, I can't cheat on this woman. I love her too much. She was there when I went through this. She was there when I went through that. She held me down with this. I can't cheat on her. So the men with morals don't struggle with monogamy. It's the men without morals who struggle with, they're battling with monogamy and just battling with being honest. Real men are just honest. We upfront about it.
So, as I do agree with honesty, 100% transparency, I definitely do think is needed in anything, especially a relationship. I look at monogamy as conformity. I believe discipline in this topic is only needed when you are consciously choosing not to be fulfilled, knowing that that person cannot fulfill you, of course. Now, if that one person does fulfill you, then it's obviously null and void. Mm-hmm. But let's say you really love one woman, but you know that there's more, you have the capacity or the bandwidth to add more. Maybe not too much more. Maybe for one man, it could be one more. Maybe for another man like Neo, it could be 4 or 3 more. So I believe we've got to this point where we're battling conformity within our relationships because we were programmed since the beginning. I mean, everybody, I should say, right now, in the last 50 to 100 years, one wife. That's a law, legally. And because of that, we walk into this, we come into this world, and women are already saying, hey, listen, the rules are set up where he can only have one. That's it. So the men are going to try to live as if he can only have one, even though most relationships, I forgot what the study was, 60 or 70% of all relationships, including marriage and not including marriage, have infidelity in it or had infidelity at some point in it, which is majority. Which means that majority of people, whether it be the man or the woman, whoever it was, are struggling with monogamy even pre-marital status. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I look at all the details and I look at all the moving pieces and I kind of digest it, I say to myself, is monogamy possible? Of course. I feel like, is monogamy a minority? I say yes. I don't believe that most people can fulfill one person. I mean, most people can be all that it takes for one person to be fulfilled. It's very hard to do that and be that. You have to have 100% alignment in my eyes, which I don't think that happens often because people aren't even aligned with themselves and they're constantly discovering new versions of themselves throughout every decade of their life. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, that's when the misalignment happens, which is why you see a lot of 20, 30, 40-year-old marriages fall apart. And with that being said, that's why I believe that we struggle with monogamy personally.
There was a study that they did with onepoll.com that said 50% of women, whether single or married, they have a backup partner, like someone probably in the friend zone that, is a backup. A lot of people struggle with monogamy, and it's a discussion that needs to be had, whether the person is open to it or not. Because like I said, under my belief, we're allowed to. If I'm talking to someone and I feel fulfilled within the relationship, I could tell them, like, it's just you. If that changes, though, I'm the type of person who would be honest about it, and you would have to take whatever comes with that. I'm like, I want to add someone to this, a second wife or whatever the situation is. And under my belief, I'm supposed to. So, you're not supposed to just get one and not tell. But it's about just being honest.
Do you think that men struggle with being honest about wanting to have more than one partner?
Yeah, because like you said, the Western world has been conditioned to, I'm not sharing you. It's just, it's just us. It's just us in this situation. And, monogamy is what they grew up on, what they grew up seeing. So they can't even begin to comprehend a situation where they see, polygyny or something like that taking place. They're like, I'm not sharing you with someone, even if you go over it with them biblically, or many of them are just, they're not with it. They're more accepting to it, in, Eastern society and different cultures and religions, Islam. They're more accepting and willing to than they are in the Western world. That's why we gotta change that narrative about it.
I have a question for you personally.
Mm-hmm.
Could you, Dr. James, could you date a woman seriously and or potentially marry who has a different religious belief than you?
No.
Can you expound on that?
We got to be equally yoked. We got to be aligned and going in the same direction. I can't be praying to, God, my God. I can't be praying to Yahweh, and you praying to, you call him Allah or you call him Buddha or whatever. We're not going to be aligned in, the way we think, the way we view the world, the way we view raising our children. And those are key aspects for me. So also with me being the leader, I'm the leader. So you're not following my lead if you follow something different. You can't have two masters. So who are you serving? If this is my God and this is the direction I'm going in and I'm your leader, this is the direction we're going in. That's the problem with the unity. We got to have the unity and be going in the same direction, the same vision as to what is going to be best for us and the best for our family and our children. That's not going to work if you serve something different.
I mean, I definitely could understand that. So with that being said, I just want to ask one last question before we head out.
Mm-hmm.
Have women made traditional relationships obsolete? And I'm only asking this considering being the leader of the house. Typically that is a traditional way of looking at a relationship, what they would consider traditional, I should say.
No, because they still desire a leader. Like if you listen to all of them, their actions may say one thing and we would have to be in the relationships with all, what? I'm gonna change that because there was a study done by Nalandra Suri, I believe that's how you say her name. And it was published in 2024. And they said that the study revealed that relationships that conform to traditional values are less happy. So within these relationships, when the men value like traditional roles and things like that, they're less happy. So, depending on how you look at it, it could be doing that. That could be part of the problem. But when women talk, they say they want a leader and they want, a man that's going to, 0 to 100 and he pays the bills and he's the leader and all of that. And he takes charge and I don't have to plan much, don't have to do much. But when they're in that environment, the research is showing that that's not really what they want these days.
It's probably a Western researcher. But what I will say is thank you for taking the time out to join us here at 8 at the Table. I know that you'll be back on another episode. Before we head out, I would like for you to tell the audience where they can find you, what you have coming up, any of those details.
Dr. Will James on Instagram, Dr. Will James on TikTok. My students told me I need to get on TikTok. So Facebook, Dr. William Deon James. You can order my book, Black Supremacy, on Amazon. That's pretty much it.
Well, definitely thank you for joining us. We're going to have another conversation after this about LeBron and Michael Jordan. And I definitely will see you next time. Everybody at 8 at the Table, the audience, I need you to like, subscribe, keep on keeping on. We appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time.